Thanks for tuning in. This is Kirk Christman from NLFX Pro, and you're listening to Backstage with Sean Wallin. Hey, Sean.
How's it going?
Hey, all right. So, Sean, what got you into music in the first place?
Oh man, we're gonna take it way back to like fourth grade. Mrs. Schaefer, J.W. Smith.
Okay.
She had everybody singing these off the wall random notes, and she was going from person to person to see how pitchy they were, how long key they were, and all the guys were kind of taking it as a joke. And I'll never forget because I wanted to try. I wanted to do well.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I hit those notes, and they were high notes for a guy to hit, all the guys started making fun of me like instantly. And she stopped them and she said, "You guys need to knock it off right now." He did an amazing job. And at that point, you know, because I didn't do well in school and a lot of different things, I knew at that point that was something I could latch on to and something I actually felt like I was pretty good at.
Yeah, you're a very good vocalist.
So, and that kind of just carried through. I joined choir like the next year. I was in choir all the way through grade school. I was into Russ Taff for a while. He was real big in the 80s with contemporary Christian music. And then I kind of dabbled into Stephen Curtis Chapman in the 90s. So I really was raised on a lot of Christian music. So I really didn't, my music world really didn't open up until I was a rebellious teenager, you know.
Okay, what was it? And then what was that like?
That was interesting because when I was a teenager, I had a next door neighbor that was really into hip hop. And I remember the day that Tupac died, I think the day after, he came over and knocked on my door. I think I was like 14 years old. And he's like, "Bro, we got to listen to Tupac today." And I knew he had all kinds of gangster rap CDs. We sat and we chilled out and listened to some Tupac that day. And it's kind of a cool day because he literally had tears in his eyes when he let me know that Tupac had died. He was such a big gangster rap fan. So, I mean, that's a cool memory I'll never forget about music in my teenage years.
So those of you that know Sean from singing in the community, you may not know that he was ever into rap music or that you actually have written your own rap songs.
Yeah, so that's how I first started writing music. I was doing a lot of rap music. So back, it's 2001, I moved to Memphis, Tennessee. I met a guy there, and we linked up, and we wrote some music, and we just kind of fooled around with it. I didn't take it seriously until I had a girl. Really, it was my first heartbreak, and that's when I realized I could put something on paper, you know, and it felt emotional, you know. So that was kind of an interesting time, and I was into hip hop for 10 years. I still like it. If I hear a good song, I still get down with it, you know.
What got you into the music scene that people know of you now?
Oh, gosh, we were probably in our early 20s. I was working construction at the time, and we had a bunch of buddies that we dared each other to start singing karaoke. And I had been out of singing. You know, I was mostly focused on hip hop, and I quit doing that when I moved back up here in 2004. And I had some buddies that dared me to get up and sing karaoke, and I did it. And people were shocked; they had no idea I could sing. But I remember, kind of funny, back before it was Lazy Jacks, it was called Nightscap for a little while. Before Nightscap, it was Mason's. So we were doing karaoke up there, and for some reason I had "Don't Be Cruel" Elvis in mind. I had never sang it before. I got up and sang it, and I got a pretty good response. And I had a couple girls come up and slap the karaoke book in front of me and said, "Hey, you need to sing this song. You need to sing that song." And my ex-girlfriend at the time was actually getting ready to sing her song. She gets on the microphone and says, "Get the F away from my man." I am not kidding. She said right over the microphone. So these two girls were really catty, and they started hollering back at her. She marched on up to them, grabbed them both by the hair, and started shaking them around. The first and only time I had ever been kicked out of a bar. Because she was my girlfriend, I got booted out of that bar.
Oh, wow.
You know, but yeah, that was my first Elvis experience, you know. So
okay, so what came first, the doing your Elvis shows, or I know you started playing with a live band?
Yeah, so they used to have a contest around town. I'm not Kicking Up Country. There was another one. I'm forgetting the name of it right now. But I showed up to the Eagles Club one night in 2014, maybe. some older musicians that had been in the band for quite a while, and they were judging the contest. And I went up and chatted with them for a bit, and they said, "Man, the talent here is just terrible." And they were going on, "This is no contest," and blah blah blah. And I thought, and I knew that the contest was going on, and I kind of like to check it out, because I like to check out local talent and whatnot. And I did some karaoke after that, and I did a song called "Cattle Call," where there's some yodeling, and it's an older tune, Eddie Arnold. And after I did that song, they approached me and asked if I had ever been in a band, and asked if I was interested, and the rest is history, as they say. Yeah. So I was in a band for 3.5 years, I think.
And that was Highway 71?
Highway 71 band, yeah.
Okay. Did that kind of boost you into your Elvis?
The Highway 71 band really had nothing to do with Elvis. There's a fellow named Charlie Hagen that also was involved a lot with karaoke, and he'd heard me do Elvis a couple times and kind of told me I needed to work on it, and told me, it was kind of I call it backhanded compliment. He said, "You sound good, but you sound nothing like Elvis." So I would go home and I'd listen to Elvis, and just to prove this guy that I could sing like him, I'd go back and sing karaoke. Well, for years I didn't catch his attention, and I don't remember what song it was per se, but he came up to me afterwards and said, "You've gotten so much better. Have you ever thought about becoming an impersonator?" And I told him no. He said, "Well, we can make lots of money together." So I'll give it a shot. He had a Kmart jumpsuit, with the cheap little wig. And we would travel around the little bars outside of Bemidji, like Solway, back before it was JD's Outpost. I forget what it was called. Mm-hmm. But we'd gone out there, and literally, I think my dad showed up to the first gig I was there. I mean, there was nobody showing up. But looking back at the outfit and the goofy wig, I'm kind of glad there wasn't a lot of people there, because it was kind of a goofy deal. Everybody starts somewhere.
Sure. So what are some of the best or some of your most memorable performances for the Elvis tribute?
When I go to the nursing homes,
oh yeah,
and you sing some of those songs that a lot of these individuals have dementia. They forget what day of the week it is, who the president is, but they remember those old songs. And when you can touch them and reach them emotionally, just by singing a simple old song, I mean, that makes your day right there,
Cool.
So that's
nice.
I think that's one of the high points. Obviously, going to the casinos is a high point, because you feel like you're getting some recognition, you're getting paid a little better.
Well, I've definitely experienced his Elvis show. He's very good. We got to take a little break here, so when we get back, we're going to talk some gear. This is Kirk Christman from NLFX Pro, and you're listening to Backstage with Sean Wallin. Backstage! Welcome back. This is Kirk Christman from NLFX Pro, and you're listening to Backstage with Sean Wallin. Well, it's gear talk time. Gear talk. Well, Sean, being a vocalist, what was the first piece of gear that you had?
I think the first piece of equipment we had bought was a Shure microphone, a cordless. If you're any kind of professional and you've bought cordless mics over the years, and I know I've used many over the years, just running karaoke, I think Shure microphones are definitely the way to go. There's some cheaper brands out there, but as far as longevity goes and just all around good equipment, is Shure mic is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, Shure makes some nice wireless mics for sure. So after the microphone, what kind of gear did you buy?
I think the next step was to find a mixer, and we went to NLFX, and we talked to some professionals there, and they pointed us in the right direction as far as sound system goes.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, you had a Soundcraft mixer and some Electro Voice speakers.
Yes, and that we had no problems with those. They lasted the whole 3.5 years, and as far as I know, the Highway 71 band still uses the same equipment. So it's been going strong.
After the Highway 71 band, you kind of started more concentrating on just the Elvis show. What's some of the gear that you use for that?
I'm an Elvis fan, obviously, so I like to look and see the kind of stuff Elvis actually used, and I looked for a knockoff black Fender guitar, and I ended up finding one that was pretty similar to the one that he used. It's a low budget guitar. I couldn't even tell you what the name brand is, but it looked close enough to a Fender. And Elvis would always start out his first couple songs with a guitar in his hand. So I learned to play a few chords and at least pretend like I knew what I was doing anyway. And so as far as the sound equipment goes for that, that's what I bought, was a guitar. Charlie ends up using his own karaoke equipment. I'm not kind of unsure what stuff he uses.
What kind of other gear that's unmusic related? There's as far as clothing and how, I mean, there must be a lot that goes into an impersonation gig.
Yeah, it's not a cheap gig, that's for sure. If you're going to do it and you're going to go all out, you're either going to want to grow your hair out, which I did before, and it's a lot of work and a lot of maintenance. And I just ultimately decided I don't want to go everywhere looking like Elvis. So I just cut my hair and bought a nice, expensive wig. I mean, you're spending anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 for a nice wig, and I've got 2 of them now. So I've got two wigs, 4 jumpsuits. Yeah.
So then somewhere in there, I know that you bought an acoustic guitar, one that actually, a Fender actually, and one that plays nice. And you've been writing your own original music now. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so last summer, I decided to pick up more than just a couple of chords and actually start playing a little bit. I started taking some lessons on YouTube. And I fooled around with kind of writing some of my own stuff, really not thinking it would go anywhere. And I had a buddy come over and listen to some of it, and he told me I had some good stuff down. And so we kind of goofed around with it. We wrote our first song together, and I kind of liked the way it turned out. And I thought this isn't so hard. It's not as complicated as I thought. Actually writing words to chords didn't turn out to be a difficult process by any means. And you just kind of went with it from there. Country music I found was the easiest to write. You don't have to be too deep in just simple little songs, So.
And then Sean came out and approached me, and we've recorded a few. Let's take a listen. What's a song you'd like to? What song should I play for him?
I think right now I like "This Man" is a good one. I know that I'd originally called it "Batman," and when I sang it, sounded like Batman. I didn't really want to write a song about Batman, so I decided to twist it up to "This Man." It didn't sound like a superhero theme song.
Okay, let's take a listen to that one for a minute.
Had to take a little break, so I drove to the lake just to clear my mind. Watched the sun sink low, then I grabbed a fishing pole and cast out a line. Made a promise to myself not to put her through hell or the grief I caused firsthand. Got a plan to run from this man.
Okay, yeah, that's a nice one. I really like that song. Another one that I really liked that you recorded was that Grandpa song. I think we should probably let's take a little listen to that one also.
Absolutely, yeah.
Grandpa, if you're listening right now, if I could hear your voice somehow, why do you feel so far away? Grandpa, share a story and a lesson, every one of them a blessing. Sure could use you here today.
Yeah, that's a good one. I really like that one. How did that one come to be?
So, interestingly enough, I never had a grandpa that I knew. I always wondered what it would be like to have a grandpa, and I had a few close friends of mine that had their grandpa pass away, and I didn't know them, obviously, but I didn't know their grandpas. But in the song, I just kind of wrote and culminated everything together of what I thought a grandpa would be, and what I've always wanted and want if I were to ever have one. So yeah, it's an interesting song to write for me, just simply because I was doing it blind. Never had a grandpa experience, so.
It's really nice. It's very relatable, good story song. How many songs have you recorded right now?
I've got 10 songs recorded. I'd like to get 12, but with everything going on right now, it's obviously can't happen. I was hoping to have a whole album done by summertime. And, maybe we'll still get there. Who knows? As soon as this stuff clears up and life gets back to normal, I'm anxious to go. I got nothing else to do but sit here and write more songs,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little strange for me doing the interview over the phone here, too, instead of face-to-face. So,
yeah,
but, hey,
absolutely.
we do what we have to.
For sure. Adapt and survive, man.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Kirk. Nice talking to you.
Well, this is Kirk Christman from NLFX Pro, and you've been listening to Backstage with Sean Wallin.
Don't understand how I became this man that left you broken in the dark and held your hand, but let go when times got hard.